Now I want to give an illustration that kind of ages me. Not that I'm old, but it ages me. When we were growing up, we had a television. It was black and white. It was an old television, and the tubes back in those days got dim after a while. And ours was an old TV set, and it was very dim. We couldn't even watch TV in the daytime because it was so dim. But when Mom and Dad would go out to go grocery shopping, and they'd be gone for an hour or two, we'd go to the bedroom and get all of our blankets and take the blankets and put it over the TV, and all of us would huddle in the dark watching that black and white TV, and we could see it because we closed out everything else around us. And that's what God wants us to do. Sometimes we don't see and we don't hear God because there's too much brightness, too much attracting us, and we need to close all those other things out. We also had, or at least my aunt had, a shortwave radio, and I loved that when I was at her house because it's a gigantic radio and it had all the different stations on it worldwide. You could pick up stations from around the world. And so we would take that and we'd turn those dials very carefully, and you'd hear, you like my sound effects? And then you start to hear some garbled talk, and you go, BBC, and we tune it very carefully, and we'd end up picking up the BBC or some other station around the world. But you know what we had to do? We had to tune in. We had to tune in to the right station. We had to be very careful and very precise to find out that message was coming across to us, but we weren't receiving it. Why? Because we weren't tuned in. Now, back to our television set. Our television set had antenna, two little wires that went out like this. And often we couldn't get reception because we lived out in the country, so we would take aluminum foil and bunch the aluminum foil around the antenna. Some of you know what I'm talking about. You're old, too. They put the aluminum foil around the antenna, and then we'd move the antenna this way, move it that way, and the static would go away, and then you get a clear picture, and you say, hold it, okay, hold it there, hold your foot up in the air and your arm up in the air. We got connections, okay, we can watch the TV program. You know, it's kind of like that with God, too. You have to get on His wavelength. You have to get into the Spirit. You have to put yourself in a quiet place so that you can tune into what God is saying. He's always speaking. At any moment and any time, to anyone who is a believer, He is still whispering. He's whispering to you, but you're not hearing it because you need spiritual hearing aids. What? Spiritual hearing aids. That is, the hearing aid that God gives us is this key: be still and know that I'm God. You know, we do kind of get stopped up ears spiritually. And when we're running too fast, we don't hear what the Master is saying. And so we need that closet of prayer. We need that quiet time where we can get really quiet and listen for His voice, because He does speak.